Folks, this is the third time I've filmed this. What's going on, everybody? Top 10 Pokemon here. And like I just said, this is the third time I've had to film this auction recap. So please, for my extra efforts, give this video a thumbs up. And please be a subscriber if you're not already. I would really appreciate it. I have a tremendous lineup of auctions to go through with you folks. As usual, we have a couple of cards we've never seen before on this channel, so that'll be super interesting. Please stay tuned to the very end to see that. I also wanted to mention, if you didn't catch my most recent video, I got this Crown Zenith graded card return. Got some bangers out of it, including this PSA 10 Mewtwo V-Star and Darkrai V-Star, and they are both absolutely flawless cards. They are on my eBay auction page in the description below. Go check out that link. Along with all the other cards I got back, will be up for auction ending this Sunday, so check that out. So we'll be going over cards of all shapes and sizes. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's jump into this video, starting off with the Charizard cards from the Ultra Premium Collection box. Honestly, they haven't been doing very well in the graded market this week. The Charizard V-Star, still the strongest one of the three, sold for $118. But the Charizard VMAX, not so much, selling for $88, while the Charizard V sold for even less at $66. And that's just what happens to these cards when they are so easily available and also easy to grade. The pop report fills up and the value goes down. It is what it is. Here we have three of the special delivery cards. Here is a special delivery Charizard in PSA 10. Been selling this week for about $240. The special delivery Pikachu sold for about $515, while the special delivery Bidoof is still the strongest of the three, selling for $820. A couple of very valuable modern set cards. Here's a full art Lily from Ultra Prism in PSA 10, sold this week for $1,257. And let me just say, this card at one point was selling for $1,500, and then it dropped down to about $750, so about half that price. And now, folks, we're creeping back up to the $1,500 mark, selling for a little bit over $1,200. This card is definitely getting stronger by the day. And then speaking of strong, we have a Latios GX alternate art card. Just selling for staggering prices. This week we had two examples. One sold for $1,880. Another one sold for $1,925. And it wasn't that long ago that I was saying about this card potentially crossing the $1,000 mark. I kept saying it. I'm like, folks, we're going to see this card one day go over $1,000 for a PSA 10. Now we're looking at it almost going for over $2,000. So, do you think this is one of, if not the strongest alternate art cards available? Let me know. And what do you think this card would go for as a black label? Speaking of black label, we have a bunch of black label cards to go over, as usual. Here is a Charizard V Secret Rare card from Champion's Path that sold for $2,176. Here is a black label Glaceon VMAX that sold for $2,140 US. And then we saw another black label Umbreon VMAX. The last one we saw sold in auction for about $12,000. This week it came down quite a bit, selling on eBay for $9,100. Which is still an absolutely staggering price, as this is 10 times as much as a PSA 10 example, which sells for about $930. We saw two of the Black Label 25th Anniversary Charizard cards come by. One sold for $2,501. The other one sold for $2,550 this week. We also saw a Black Label Japanese 25th Anniversary Umbreon Gold Star card that sold for $1,500. And then here is the from the newest Japanese set, Scarlet and Violet, a black label Arcanine EX that sold this week for $660. Which last time we saw this card as a black label, it sold for over $1,000. So it came down quite a bit this week. I don't know what that's all about. We saw this Japanese Machamp V All Art that sold as a black label for $843. Here we saw a Japanese Shining Jirachi sold for $548, while the Japanese Shining Rayquaza sold for $660. Here we saw a Japanese Black Label Clefairy from Dream League that sold for $1,850 this week. And then we saw a Black Label Pikachu VMAX from Lost Origins that sold for $1,425. Up next, from the Japanese Tag Team GX All-Star set, another full art Sightseer card in PSA 10 came by, sold for $1,825. And then we saw 3 of the poncho-wearing Pikachus. These are Japanese XY promos. Here's one of Gyarados that sold for $1,996. Here's one of Pikachu wearing Rayquaza that sold for $2,080. And lastly, here's one of Pikachu wearing a Mega Charizard that sold for $3,245. Getting into the vintage portion of our video, we saw a couple of very notable cards from Jungle and Fossil. Here's a first edition Holo Pinsir that sold for $830. The first edition Electrode sold for $710. And then from Fossil, we saw a first edition Aerodactyl Holo that sold for $816, while the Raichu sold for $910. And then we saw this Holo Hitmonlee sell for $655. And then perhaps the best card in Fossil, the first edition Dragonite, sold for $3,600 this week. We saw a couple of cards from Team Rocket. Here's a first edition Dark Blastoise Holo, sold for $2,284. And then we saw another Rainbow Energy come by, a first edition Rainbow Energy Holo, and it sold for $592 this week. A couple of notable cards from the Gym series. From Gym Challenge, here's a first edition Rocket Zapdos that sold for $850. A first edition Lieutenant Surge's Fearow sold for $1,100. And then a first edition Blaine's Charizard sold for $4,250 big ones. Up next, we saw a CGC-10 Unlimited Umbreon Holo from Neo Discovery that sold for $1,600. Here is a Shining Raichu in first edition that sold for $1,425. And then here is a Japanese Shining Tyranitar, sold for a staggering $9,100 this week. We saw 2 notable cards from Legendary Collection. Here's a reverse holo Ivysaur that sold for $560, while Big Brother Venusaur here sold for $2,275. And then up next, we saw a WotC Blackstar promo Mew holo that sold as a PSA 10 this week for $745. And what's interesting is, I think 2 weeks ago, this card sold as a BGS 10 for like $2,500. And then we saw several CGC 10 examples come by last week, and they each sold for $1,000. And this week a PSA 10 came by and sold for $745. So it's not often that you see the PSA example be on the lower end of the 3 grading companies. Here we have a few awesome cards from Expedition. Here's a holographic Alakazam. Very underrated card, sold for $561. We also saw this holographic Poliwrath, sold for $2,600. And then the holo Tyranitar sold for $1,875 this week. And the last card on eBay, it is a Ho-Oh Legend card, at least the top half of it, from Heart Gold Soul Silver, sold as a PSA 10 for $355. And this is an amazing illustration, folks. If only it was all on one card, I would really be digging it. But I'm not a big fan of the cards you gotta piece together. I don't know. Do you like that? Alright, here we have the PWCC Weekly Auction Recap. Here is a holographic Houndoom from Aquapolis that sold for $1,890. And then we saw this Dragonite EX from the Dragon Frontier set, sold for $1,800. And there's a card I haven't seen before. It is a BGS 9.5 Japanese 3rd anniversary phone card featuring the big 3 on there, sold for $1,890. Here is a Rockets Mewtwo EX from EX Team Rocket Returns. It sold for $2,160. Here is a Japanese trainer card signed by Ken Sugimori from the Mirage's Mew deck. I believe it's Scott. This is the trainer Scott. That sold for $2,640. From Unseen Forces, we saw this Tyranitar EX sell for $2,400. And then here is a Japanese promo Eevee Holo card. This is the 500-point fan club card that sold for $3,120 as a PSA 9. Here is a Holo Gengar from Skyridge that sold for $3,840. And then here we saw yet again another Suicune EX from the Team Magma versus Team Aqua set, and it sold for $4,920. Here is a 2010 Japanese World's Championship Tropical Tidal Wave card in PSA 10 that sold for $5,040. And then here is an Illusions Zoroark contest winner card that sold for $5,880. Here's a Milotic EX from Emerald that sold for $7,200. Here is a Shadowless base set Blastoise in PSA 10 that sold for $7,200 as well. A CGC 10 Pristine Gold Star Espeon came by. It is a Pop 1 card and sold for $8,400. And then we saw a Celebi EX from Unseen Forces that sold for $11,100. And then last but not least, my favorite Gold Star card, the Gold Star Gary from EX Holon Phantom, sold for $11,700 this week. And the auction of the week, I am going to have to give to these two Japanese XY promo cards. It was a Mega Sachiko EX, Sachiko, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, and a Suzuki-san. These are 20th anniversary countdown cards. Both of these cards sold as PSA 10s for $45,100. So this is an example of a very limited distribution of cards, and that is why they sell for an arm and a leg, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in, community. I really appreciate it, more than you know. I put a lot of time into this particular video just with research and messing up, so thank you for sticking around. I will catch you all in my next one.